and we need national leadership on this. So, you know, it was Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill who did it together in the 80s. But we haven't had a national strategy.
Look, Joe!
Go, Joe!
Thank you, man.
Get that orange ape hat off.
I didn't say that. His words, yeah, exactly.
Mr. Vice President, are we in a constitutional crisis at this point?
Hey guys, come on.
It will depend on how the administration acts from here. And, you know, it's, I understand they've held the Attorney General in contempt today. You know, we have three equal branches of government. One of them is the Congress. They're entitled to be able to get access. And I'm sure it's going to end up in the courts, but it's, I think they did the right thing. But it's we're getting close. I think the real crisis is breaking down all the barriers across the board. And so, can I help you? Anyway.
Mr. Vice President, the President seems to be inviting this kind of logjam in Washington. He's making an issue of Democratic oversight. Do you worry, as somebody who would be on the ballot potentially next year, that this is potentially helping the President rally his base around using this?
I don't think we should look at it that way. We should look at it what the Constitution requires, what the authority of the Congress is. It's a co-equal branch of government. From the time he's come in office, he's attempted to diminish every other branch of government and the fourth estate as well. It's all about, you know, taking down the guardrails of the abuse of power. And so I don't think of it in terms of how it helps or hurts. It's what's required to be done constitutionally. And when he abuses that constitutional authority, then he should be held accountable, whether or not it impacts on the presidential race. Look, everybody knows who Donald Trump is. His supporters know who he is. So, you know, the only thing that I'm going to be talking about in this campaign is not responding to his early morning tweets and the like, but just telling people who we are, why we're running. And it really is about restoring some dignity to the office, about picking truth over lies. It's about unity over division. It's about who we are, and everything's changing right now. But so again, whether or not it is helpful to a Democratic candidate should not be the measure. It's about what is the responsibility of the Congress to do, and I think they have to continue to push.
There's 20 other candidates in the field. We saw another mass shooting at a high school yesterday.
By the way, it is so sad that wonderful. I mean, this young man was a hero. I mean, a genuine, full-blown hero. If he did that as a member of the military, he'd be getting the Medal of Honor. And it's outrageous. It's outrageous that we still only talk about offering prayers. Look, I don't know enough detail to know, maybe you guys do, about whether or not, what kind of weapon was used, what the background checks were, or the detail. But the idea we don't have universal background checks, the idea that we don't outlaw a number of the weapons I was able to get outlawed in the crime bill, from large magazines and assault weapons. Yeah, this is crazy. It is, and by the way, it doesn't impact on the Second Amendment at all. Look, if you left your car out there with the keys in it, the kid took it, you're going to be sued for that, responsible. Why in God's name? I don't know where the gun came from. But if the gun came from somebody who didn't have a trigger lock on it and the person doesn't own it, they should be responsible. There's a requirement for public safety. It's necessary. But I don't know enough to comment explicitly on precisely what the circumstance, what weapon was found, how the weapon was acquired. But I tell you what, this young man who was about to graduate is a full-blown, bona fide hero. Kid's a hero. The idea we have to rely on a young man throwing his body in front of, someone who's firing on our children, it's just bizarre.
Mr. Biden, with 20 other declared candidates, will you pledge to keep things civil going forward?
Here's a commitment I made, and I'll make it again. I will not speak ill of any of the Democratic candidates. I will not do it. The last thing the Democratic Party needs now is for there to be a fight among Democrats that gets into something that's unseemly. Whether it happens or not, I pledge to you I will not be part of it.
Mr. Vice President, if the Mueller report exonerates President Trump, why do you think he won't release the redacted version?
Look, my recollection was a month ago he was calling for release it all, release it. Well, I'll let you decide.
Let me ask you a policy question, sir. Do you think that undocumented immigrants who are in this country and are law-abiding should be entitled to federal benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, for example?
Look, I think that anyone who is in a situation where they're in need of health care, regardless of whether they're documented or undocumented, we have an obligation to see that they're cared for. That's why I think we need more clinics around the country. And this idea that undocumented, and by the way, a significant portion of undocumented folks in this country are there because they've overstayed their visas.
Right.
It's not people breaking down gates coming across the border. And so, look, the biggest thing we got to do in this is just tone down the rhetoric. We know why it's happening. It's to create fear and concern. Why are your job in tough shape? Because of that, and then he describes in very graphic, unflattering terms, that other, the immigrant. This is ridiculous. And by the way, I'll say one other thing about this, because I'm going to be laying out, and you know a lot of my position on immigration to begin with. But look, the reason we're the incredible country we are is because we've been able to go out and cherry pick the best from every single culture in the world. It's why we're so different. Because for some people to get in the boat, whether it was my great-grandfather Owen Finney getting on a coffin ship in the Irish Sea, or someone in Mexico or in El Salvador today saying, I can see it now, we got a great idea for the family. Let's go ahead and sell everything we have. Let's hire a coyote. Let's risk our lives and go across the border. Won't that be fun? Everybody and your parents who came here, and grandparents who came here, great-grandparents who came here, they're people with absolute notion of absolutely resilient. They're people who are people who are confident. They're people who want to do things. That's why we're who the hell we are. That's why we're different than any other country in the world.
By the way, Vice President, in this city, to that question, 90% of those folks, their kids are citizens. So if we cut benefits off, those are the kids that suffer, that are
and by the
American
way,
citizens.
in addition to
Medicare, Medicaid, sir. Is that on your agenda?
He's for both of them.
yeah, no.
No, the undocumented.
Oh, for undocumented.
Mr. President, so 100,000 people, CBP reported 100,000 arrests made on the border in April. When you lay your plan out, is there going to be something to deal with that fact, that issue there? And when will that plan be released?
Well, it'll be released in the very near term. Look, what I've been trying to do is focus on in the beginning instead of laying out detail. I've only been in this race about it. It's already prepared, but here's the deal. One of the things that's important is, and it's critical, and everybody says we can't get bipartisan support. I was able to get bipartisan support for a significant commitment, $750 million, to keep people from wanting to leave. We were in a position where if you make schools better, if you make the streets safer, if you put in streetlights, if you provide for alternatives for people who are fleeing now because of what they don't have while they're being victimized, that's the way to keep people from going. People aren't saying, God, I'd really like to leave. This is a wonderful thing to leave. And so you got to help grow the economies. And the president just cut that all off. It was working. And by the way, anyone who does not qualify does not qualify to be able to stay based on the fact that they are fleeing oppression. We also put in the bill, we set up situations where they're flown back to safe venues, where they have facilities that are to be able to help them readjust in their communities. This is about just basic, simple humanity. And the idea that we're just trying to scare the living devil out of the American public, that, my God, the hordes are coming, the way he characterized, is just simply wrong. But I'm going to lay out in significant detail, I've done a lot of it already, what explicitly needs to be done. And we have to significantly increase the capacity to be able to determine quickly whether or not you qualify. Whether you qualify as, when you come across the border, to be able to stay, that you're actually leaving something that puts you in jeopardy. And we can do that, but this is a crisis created by Trump. This is a crisis created by the administration. and that's why it keeps these hordes coming. It just anyway.
Sir, you served 8 years as vice president. You know what the job entails. The man to your left thought about running for president. How does he look as a potential running mate next year?
Well, I just want to tell you, when he decided not to run, or everybody tell me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I called him.
First guy to call me.
And I said, I really have mixed emotions about this. The reason is, number one, I think he's one of the most qualified people in the country. He's one of the best mayors in this country. He's done incredibly innovative things here. And I said, but I'm also glad you're not running because I plan on running. No, I'm serious. I wouldn't want to run against you. But look, he is qualified to be mayor, to be president, to be senator, anything that he decides he wants. He's totally qualified.
What about another Californian, Senator Harris?
I think there's a lot. She's qualified too. She said this idea that it's a matter of that we have a lot of people aren't qualified or aren't electable. Come on, give me a break.
Yes, but Mr. Vice President,
okay, you guys, come on, let's go. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Talking to some of those who are attending your fundraiser today, many are with you, but some are still shopping for candidates. And the question is, some suggest that an elongated primary process hurt Hillary Clinton, Secretary Clinton, in 2016. Is that a concern here with 21, 22 candidates that go so far deep in the primary it could hurt the nominee?
Well, look, I don't think that's the case. What's going to happen is this field is going to be winnowed out pretty quickly here in California as well. In order to get any delegates from congressional districts, you got to get 15% of the vote. Come out of Iowa, you need 15% of the caucus. And so, look, this is going to work its way through relatively quickly for all of us. And so I don't have any problem with the fact it's 15. But by the way, everybody said, why didn't I get in January? What did I tell you then? I said, because the process is already too long. It's already too long.
Let me say one last.
Come on, let's go.
Let me say one last thing.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Thank you.
Let me just say one last thing. Let me say on behalf. One last thing I want to say, and I want to thank the Vice President for being here. Los Angeles loves Joe Biden, and Joe Biden loves Los Angeles. And I'm here with a dear friend today. We came here because these workers have a higher minimum wage because this guy came here and helped us raise the minimum wage.
But you got it done.
We did it together, and he's somebody who came out here to help us on climate change long before we had fires that were breaking records. And so this is our chance to say thank you. To your point, of course, Californians are looking at everybody who's running, but nobody needs to be introduced to Joe Biden. He has been a longtime friend to Los Angeles, and I'm so pleased. He's here at King Taco, and I do endorse King Taco, the best taco around.
By the way, the reason I'm not eating this one, Cristobal asked me, my guy out in the car, he said, can you get me one? I thought,
this one's Al Pastor.
Cristobal, here you go.
Thank you, guys. Let's go, guys. Come on, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Come on, let's go. Thank you,
Holloway
guys.
said hi.
Come on.
I'm married to his
Last one here.
daughter.
Oh, is it live?
No.
Are you live? Okay, good. You got any pictures? Yes, you really did. Yes.
Thank you. Let's go.
California.
Come on, let him out. Let him out, Greg. Come on. Let's go, guys. Outdoors. Let's go. Come on, guys. Yeah.
And
His father was with him.
We're going to start exiting. Let's head out. You guys, thanks, guys. Thank you. Hey, you guys, let's go. Come on. You guys, let's go. Alex? Sorry. Okay, come on, you guys, let's go. Come on, let's go, guys. Let's go. Come on. to come over here so it's safe when cars are moving.
These guys are going to walk right here, okay?
Oh.
So we're not going to stop.
Guys, if everybody can go behind here, we're gonna. They just asked us to not block the walkway. Sorry, they were wrong. They can block the walkway for. It's gonna be 30 seconds. They're not. They're not. Okay, guys. No. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Bad intel. Bad intel. Go back that way. Sorry, guys.
Are we having fun yet, everybody? Hey, man, you got a haircut.
Guys, we cannot block cars. It's just not safe. Guys, we cannot block cars. I'll get me on the car.
Yeah, I won't get.
I can come. Excuse me.
Yeah, go inside. Go say hi.
I'm just worrying that she will go on the other.
They should go inside. They said he's coming out this way. Unless they changed. No.
Excuse me.
They're out. Now they're changing again. He was going to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I can't.
So maybe they moved it.
Yeah.
Again? Yeah.
Although the third option would have been fuck Anticus, which.
Oh my god, it was so amazing. It was so unexpected. We were hungry, and who would have known? And they, yes, we did. They asked what was our main concern, and that was that popped in my head. I'm definitely gonna go for him. Definitely, he was very nice, man. Michelle. Cortez.
Okay, your name is
Myra Hernandez.
from Bakersfield.
From Bakersfield. Thank you so much.
Have a good time of the game.
Thank you.
Guys, let me inside, please. Let me inside. Sorry, we'll squeeze through.
M-Y-R-A?
M-Y-R-A, yes.
And what's your,
Michelle.
what's the last name?
Cortez. That was so much fun.
Right side. You want to give me the mic? Just sit. I'm just going to drop this here, okay? Thanks.
I don't even know.
Hey, Sue.
Mr. Biden.
Thanks, everybody. See y'all.
Yeah, Eric. See that? Yeah. Thanks for coming, guys.
Say, Mayor, after what he just said about you, are you not endorsing for president?
Oh, he is an amazing friend of the city. You know, there's tons of people that are friends of this race, and nobody closer than Joe. So I think, like most engineers, my responsibility is to make sure we have candidates like relevant stuff, homelessness, climate change, infrastructure. And he certainly has good answers, and I look forward to hearing more about them. Our responsibility is to those 4 million people here to make sure that people are not just coming here for donations, but they're taking care of issues that matter to us. And Joe has taken care of us in the past, so I'm glad that.
Mr. Mayor, there's...
Do you think that you could have a candidate locked up in the nomination after the California primary? Could this state decide?
It could be. I think it's unlikely. I think there's a lot of scenarios in which this goes even all the way to the convention. But what I love
Would that
is
be a good thing?
I hope that we have it decided by then, because trust me, while Donald Trump is collecting money and getting ready to win a general election, you're going to have Democrats going after each other. So the sooner that we get that, the better. But that's a long way off. We need a good year of being able to see these candidates on the stage, hear their ideas, and make our decisions of who we're going to support. But I have confidence that we can beat Donald Trump and Joe Biden, who's obviously the top number.
Plan to endorse someone over the next 10 months before the primary?
Probably. Yeah.
And you'd like to do that
like most folks, you know, I'm looking and listening.
So you're shopping too?
There are people. I'm not personally shopping. I'm kind of standing up for the people of Los Angeles right now. We had lunch with 2 women who were down here for the Dodgers game from Bakersfield, where homelessness in Kern County is up 65%. We see people on the streets here. We need infrastructure help. We see climate change affecting our firefighters. So we want, I think, real answers. And so I welcome that conversation. But Joe helped us raise the minimum wage. He came here to help us with climate change, with a summit we had with Chinese mayors. I mean, he's been here regularly, so he's no stranger. He's almost an honorary Californian.
Mr. Mayor, is there pressure on you to endorse Senator Harris or maybe even Congressman Swalwell because of favorite son or daughter status?
No, Kamala's a dear friend. I like Eric a lot. But no, I mean, I'm making sure that I represent all 4 million people, the city of LA, and the issues we care about right now.
What cabinet job would you like?
I want to go to the exam. But just like a Sunday show, maybe talk about some main issues. But I have to wait for an opening, so we'll see. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Here, Senator.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get what you needed.
No, all good. Thank you so much. See you.
He got it, and that's better than me trying to like.
Yeah, we're gonna do. Yeah, we got all that.
Yeah, no, I've been leading the campaign. So we do have partners together. Absolutely, absolutely. There's no such thing.